Hi, I'm the Naked Fairy, and today we're recording outside. So if you hear some strange noises or you see me kind of blowing around, that's what it is. We're having one of those weird Southern California days where the hot winds are blowing and it's just too warm to stay inside. Plus, it's March 2nd, and that's just a little bit early for me to be turning on the air conditioning. But I did want to get today's video done after I took a break yesterday. And I will have the results of yesterday's break playing with makeup at the end of this video. Very happy with the eyes, very unhappy with the lips, but overall it served its purpose. Taking a play break cleared my head and gave me a much needed mental and emotional break. But today we're going to continue talking about some of the core principles that you can put in your toolbox to help you deal with PTSD. Now, we've already talked about a couple of them, that feelings are not reality, and also that it gets better. But today we're going to do a very, very important one, and it's simply this: better out than in. In a nutshell, you need to get what happened to you out in the open. You need to talk to people. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In all my years of therapy, I've never talked to a therapist about the nitty-gritty details about what happened to me. Why? Trust issues. We all have them. You know that. I don't need to tell you that. What I would do was I would treat my therapy sessions as kind of an interactive schoolroom in teaching me how to deal with things. Then I would take it home with me and deal with it there. And in the beginning, my husband was the one who listened to everything, and he was, and still is, an amazing man. We are both happily married to other people now, but I have to tell you that those early years would not have been possible without him standing by my side and holding me and just being there and being my safe place for me when I didn't have one. But it's hard to talk about this stuff because, well, in a lot of ways we've been conditioned to silence. Sometimes it's simply a matter that we need silence to process things. We need to not talk about things while we process them, but then we've gotten so used to not talking about them that we simply don't. In other cases, there are complex feelings of misplaced guilt and shame that keep us silent. The circumstances and our own childhood distorted perceptions lead us to believe that what happened to us was our fault in some way. Another reason that we don't tell is that we've been told by the person abusing us not to. My cousin was very clear that if I ever told anyone, he would kill me, and I believed him. But another reason we don't tell is that we think what's happening is normal, particularly if the abuse happens at the hand of our parents. I know that for many years I did not consider what my mother did to me to be physical abuse. I was aware throughout the years that while both parents spanked me, what my mom did and what my dad did were very, very different. Mom, as I've told you, did it as a loss of temper. Whatever was at hand is what she would beat me with. Fly swatters, nylon hairbrushes, vacuum cleaner hose, belts, yardsticks. We never had a yardstick that survived long in our house without being broken, and usually it was broken because it was used to beat me with. But that was very different than what my father did. When my father spanked me, it was very deliberate. He was always calm. It was 1, 2, or maybe even 3 hard swats on the bottom. They weren't so much painful as they were for emphasis. And like I said, I knew that they spanked differently. But I still thought that what my mom did was normal. It wasn't until I was in the therapy for the sexual abuse that I was talking about my mom, and the therapist exclaimed, "Oh, "You never told me your mom beat you." And I really had to think about that. And really think about it from what I'd learned in therapy and from what I was continuing to learn, and realize that, yeah, what my mom did wasn't right. It was physical abuse. That is not how you discipline a child. And it was done out of her anger and frustration, and not because that was what was best for me. So sometimes, very often, we think what's happening to us is normal. And that's another reason to talk about it. It helps you to realize that it's not. Now, there's lots of people you can talk to. There may be people in your life you trust. A therapist is good, again, because you have an objective voice. Group therapy is helpful because it tells you you're not alone. You're not the only one who's been through it, and you're not the only one that's kept silent. But it's still really, really hard. And better out than in is kind of a motto in our family. Most of us don't like to cry, but we need to cry, particularly when we've been through stuff. And sometimes when we cry, the response from my other family members, or my response to them, is better out than in. Whatever your emotion that's filling up your emotional teacup, when it starts to overflow, if you try to hold it in, it's not good, and it doesn't help you. You need to get it out. A really, well, not pretty example of this, but a very true example is when you feel sick to your stomach, particularly if you've eaten something that didn't agree to you. Now, nobody likes to throw up. It's unpleasant, and yeah, it's not fun. But sometimes that's what our bodies need to do. It needs to expel what's in there that's making us feel bad. But we fight it, and we fight it. And we will spend hours doing everything that we can do so that we don't throw up. And then in the end, we still do. And afterwards, we feel better, and we say to ourselves, I should have just done that hours ago. But the next time, we'll still resist it. But it's the same principle. What's poisoning you needs to be gotten out. There were a lot of reasons when you were younger, when you were first victimized, that you needed to not tell, and that's what you did. And that was a good thing. If you survived, you did it right. But it's not doing you any favors now, and you need to get it out, because silence is no longer golden, and you need to talk about it. You need to tell someone. Find a counselor, find a therapist, find a pastor, find a friend, find someone who just reaches out to you in a way you don't understand. When someone looks at you and says, is something wrong? I always give people an out and go, yeah, there really is, but do you really want to hear this? But I have found over the years some surprising sources of just people willing to listen to me and willing to be there when I need them. And there are people in your life, and there are professionals around that can help you, and it really is better out than in. And if worse comes to worse and you don't feel there's anyone safe to tell, get your favorite stuffed animal or buy one and tell it. You still eventually need to tell people, but as a starting point, it might feel safer, it might be more doable. But tell someone, because it really is better out than in. But whoever you tell, and however you tell them, remember that clothing is optional, and consent is not.